Well, good day. This is revolutionary for conventions because we're starting with an advertisement. This is my friend PK, the polio koala. He obviously has another friend. He's available for you to take home with you from the House of Friendship. You may have noticed this is a tennis venue. You probably noticed that. It's not just set aside for the occasional Rotary Convention. And these are tennis balls, in case you also don't recognise that. I got hold of some of them from the Australian Open right here a little earlier this year. They've been autographed by Ian R, but much more important, someone called Jennifer Jones. Now, folks, we need souvenirs, do we not, of coming to a convention? Yes, we do. So available in the House of Friendship, there's PK and there's a few of these tennis balls. We need to ensure that fundraising for our Rotary Foundation Polio Quest meets our target. We need to ensure we get every single dollar we can in our match from the Gates Foundation. So I'm recommending to you that you rock along and have a look. Now, the spouse of President Jennifer is a well-known golfer. I have it on good authority, he's an extremely good golfer. I wonder if he can catch. Ah! I have to say I did tell Nick, but we didn't rehearse it, so there you go. Right, on with the show. I'm quite fond of the works of author Bill Bryson, and in particular, a book called The Short History of Nearly Everything, a great title. This book includes a quote about humanity, which to me neatly summarizes the importance of our Rotary Foundation. And this is the quote: "We enjoy not only the privilege of existence, but also the singular ability to appreciate it, and even in a multitude of ways to make it better. It's a talent we have only barely begun to grasp." End of quote. Now, with each donation and each little bit of time spent in service of our foundation, you are helping humanity grasp the ability to make life better, to make a difference. If you don't believe me, look at the progress we've made in our fight to end polio. You have enabled Rotary and our partners in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative to reduce the number of endemic countries for the wild polio virus to 2, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And because of your work, only 3 cases of wild polio virus have been reported in the last 6 months. Fabulous. But we're not yet finished. We can be a part of history and finally eradicate polio. But we won't get there without one quality: persistence. Persistence means not giving up, even when the battle is long and we experience setbacks along the way. Now, here in Australia, one of our national symbols of persistence is Olympian Stephen Bradbury. Now, they're the Australians that are laughing. Bradbury was a speed skater at the 2002 Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. Now, you may have noticed, visitors to this fine country, that Australia doesn't have much in the way of ice. And Bradbury was not favoured to win the 1,000-metre speed skating event. But he persisted. He strategised. Stephen hung back behind the other skaters during the race, waiting. You're skeptics, all of you. But he was waiting for someone to make a mistake so that he could seize his chance. And then, in the final lap of the race, nearing the finish line, his persistence paid off. One of the skaters ahead of Bradbury fell, taking everyone else down with him. And Bradbury glided past the chaotic tangle of limbs and reached the finish line first. Hey! He's our boy. Now, he threw his hands in the air as the crowd roared in excitement and, frankly, probably disbelief. Now, in case the metaphor isn't clear, we are Stephen Bradbury, and the chaotic tangle of limbs is polio. Now, the finish line is in sight, and our opponent is in a stupendous state of disarray. Now, are we going to stop and give up because we're tired? No, of course not. Steve didn't give up, and we won't either. Now, to be fair, Bradbury never expected to win, whereas we know Rotary and our partners will succeed in our quest. We will. But the similarity is that, like Stephen Bradbury, we must never give up if we are to triumph. Bradbury's win was so spectacular that here, now more than 20 years later, Aussies refer to a surprising moment or a come-from-behind win as doing a Bradbury. Wouldn't it be wonderful if people referred to setting a difficult goal, persisting and achieving that goal as doing a Rotary? Yep. Now, I'll never forget a moment during last year's World Health Summit in Berlin when Chris Elias of the Gates Foundation, who was following me to speak, asked me to stay on stage while he expressed gratitude, fulsome gratitude, for Rotary's work to end polio. And that wonderful moment made it clear to me that when we defeat polio, the world will remember what we accomplished. And that's important. But while the recognition is nice, we must not forget our primary goal is to save lives. We have made a commitment to the children of the world to end this disease for good, so our persistence is a necessity. And here's how we win this race. We must achieve 2 milestones. First, we must interrupt transmission of the wild polio virus type 1 in the endemic countries. Second, we must interrupt transmission of circulating vaccine-derived polio virus type 2 in outbreak countries. Yes, we must. Now, Rotary brings powerful fundraising, advocacy, and awareness-raising abilities to the table. And those abilities are more important now than ever. It's up to all of us, every single one of us, to help achieve success in our fight against polio. How to do that? Well, it could be by joining or initiating a Polio Plus Society in your club or district. It can be by advocating with governments and encouraging the prioritising of financial and political support for polio eradication. It can be by raising awareness beyond government, by alerting the media to Rotary's role in polio eradication efforts. And of course, you can also participate in World Polio Day on the 24th of October this year. And finally, you can engage your fellow Rotary members and encourage them to persist at this crucial moment in our fight against polio, because, folks, it's up to us. Now, pride, like persistence, is another quality we should all embrace if we're to continue improving life for all of humanity. I encourage you to take pride and ownership in the amazing accomplishments of our foundation, made possible because of Rotary members and our friends. Let me mention some recent examples. The foundation responded to the devastating earthquake that hit Syria and Turkey by establishing the Turkey-Syria Disaster Response Fund to help clubs and districts through foundation grants in the region. And this is the latest in a number of effective responses to disasters. That's one example. Thanks to a gift from the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation, we're looking forward to entering a long-term partnership with Bahçeşehir University in Istanbul, Turkey for our next Rotary Peace Centre. And to the native Turkish speakers here, I apologise for that pronunciation, I'm working on it. Okay. We hope to start an outstanding partnership with the university and another caring philanthropic foundation, and a shout out to Trustee Marty Peake-Hellman for making this happen. Our foundation is also adapted so that Rotaract clubs may volunteer and apply for foundation grants. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. I think there's a couple of Rotaractors in the house. So now, any Rotary member looking to fund a large, sustainable project with measurable outcomes can apply for a global grant to do just that. It is vital that we unlock the power of youth, especially marginalised youth, and one global grant project from District 1860 in Germany seeks to do just that. The project is known as YES. As is traditional in Rotary, YES is an acronym. What a shock, an acronym in Rotary. And it stands for Youth Empowerment Solutions. YES seeks to ensure sustainable improvement in the living conditions of young people in Rarieda, one of the poorest regions in Kenya, where most people live on less than $1 a day. Now, financial poverty isn't the only problem afflicting Rarieda. The region is classified as a malaria hotspot, and it has an HIV infection rate of more than 24%. Combine that with a lack of water supply and an orphan rate of more than 30%, and you have a recipe for instability and adversity. YES proposes 3 strategies to tackle these problems: service learning, youth employment, and health. The Rotary members behind YES are working with the Rarieda Training and Resource Centre's technical vocational training program to help facilitate service learning. Youth employment will be bolstered through a 6-month training program ending in a business trade exhibition. And YES is also encouraging adolescents to lead the way as local health ambassadors in order to educate their community about sexual and reproductive health, infectious diseases, and other issues. The program also intends to launch and mentor a local Rotaract club in order to help the youth of Rarieda transform and revitalise their community on their terms. And that, my friends, is something of which we can all be proud, and I congratulate the Rotarians and the Rotaractors involved. Now, before I bring my remarks to a close, I'd like to recognise a few people for their contributions to our Rotary Foundation, whether they've contributed time, energy, funds, or a combination of each. Can we have the lights up, please? I only ask that you hold your applause until the end so that we can recognise everyone. So I ask you to put your hand up if a member of the Arts Clump Society, please raise your hand. Members of the Legacy Society, please raise a hand. If you're a major donor to the foundation, please raise your hand. If you're a member of the Bequest Society, please raise a hand. Any benefactors in the audience, please raise your hand. Paul Harris Fellows and Paul Harris Society members, please raise a hand. Please raise a hand if you're a Rotary Foundation sustaining member. Please keep your hands up for a short while longer. I'd also like to recognise some of our Foundation volunteers. If you are a regional Rotary Foundation coordinator, super important people, please raise your hand. How about endowment and major gift advisors? Please raise your hand. End Polio Now coordinators, please raise your hand. Rotary members and partners who have given their time, energy and commitment to ensure the success of a Foundation activity, raise your hand. Now, as you can see, there are many, many hands in the air. And the future of our Foundation, the end of polio, the ability to make life better for all of humanity, to make a real difference in the world, is in these capable hands. Now, feel free to use those hands to give yourselves a well-deserved round of applause. Now, if your hand didn't come up, don't fret. You can join in by becoming a donor, volunteering your time as a coordinator or advisor. I also want to make reference and sincere thanks to our wonderful staff who aren't in here, they're out working, but they do a wonderful job for our Rotary Foundation. Now, PK and I want to thank you for all you do. And it might seem, yes, you do. It might seem, he doesn't say much, but every word is gold. It might seem daunting to tackle many of the world's problems, such as ending polio for good. Indeed, such tasks are far too large for one pair of hands. But you have the support of 1.4 million pairs of hands helping you. Together, if we reach far enough, we can achieve anything, just like Stephen Bradbury. Thanks.